And, yeah. 3 is like pushing it. You're gonna need a lot of card draw when you have 3. Like 3 is like usually only good. 3 2-ofs works in Freeze Mage, and that's about it. No other decks really work that well with 3 2-ofs that are Reno decks. So I like 2 2-ofs max for the most part, and that's my like general rule of thumb for Reno decks. But I'm not a Reno scientist. That's how I feel when I play the Reno decks. All right, Beast Druid. Druid to the Saber. One Roar. Mounted Raptors. Swipes. Keeper the Groves. Savage Combatants. Savage Combatant's such a fun card. I wish I could still play it in normal Druid, but it doesn't work for me. But Beast Druid, now we're talking. Knight of the Wild. Alright. When I first saw Knight of the Wild, I was like pretty hype about Beast Druid until I realized it's whenever you summon a beast and this card's in your hand. So it makes it a lot worse than it first seemed like it was going to be. So you have to have it in your hand, and that's super awkward. But maybe we have enough beasts and we can just pull it off. We got a single combo. It's like we got a pretty late game intensive curve, honestly. It's like a little bit faster than normal Druid, but not by much. What am I missing though? 2 cards. Haunted Creepers. So if we look at the curve, we got a healthy number of 2-drops for not playing Wild Growth, so I like that. We're a bit more aggressive with that. We're running 1 copy of combo because we're trying to focus on more consistent draws with the 2-drops and the beast sort of things, because the beast things kind of require some amount of synergy with them. And then we got the 3s, we got the 4s, and Savage Combatant is a 4-drop. That's okay. Like, sometimes you want to use it as a 6-drop, so I might want to see put another 4 there with it. We have 4 5-drops, which is pretty standard for Druid. They usually have 4 or 5 or 6 5-drops, so I like that. And I don't know how Knight of the Wild works very well with the curve, so we're gonna have to kind of experiment with that and see. I think oftentimes it might turn into a 5-drop, which might make it feel like we have too many 5-drops, but I'm not really sure how it feels out. So we're gonna have to play with it and see how that works before we can really figure out where it belongs in the curve and where we need to fill in things. But a faster mid-range Druid with beasts and 1 combo. Let's see how it goes, man. Seems good. I like Druid a lot, so it's one of my favorite classes. So hopefully this is exciting. One Savage for BGH. There's already only 1 Savage. You want to play Savageless Druid? No way, the combo's too good. Alright. So, what cards are we looking for? We're looking for Innervate, Living Root, Starnassus Aspirant, Haunted Creeper, Druid the Saber. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards. So we want to mulligan everything for one of those 9 cards since it's better than this card. Odds are we'll find one. So since odds are in our favor, let's do it. Fuck. Well, we got the Knight of the Wild early, which could be super beneficial. Alright. Living Roots is kind of awkward here. We could play it next turn, though. So I guess we just get to work on this Zombie Chow and then try and play Living Roots next turn. Kind of clunky. Next turn we can play Savage Combatant or Swipe, depending on things go. So I guess we'll do this to try and like bait him to muster for battle, and then swipe it. Since that's our turn 4 anyway. So we'll go here, he goes there, muster for battles, kills the other one, we swipe him in the face. Not too bad. Seems good, man. It's not like ideal at the swipe since we're not killing a minion with it, but it's still 2 for winning. Ish. It's like 1.5 for winning. Mainly it's just we don't have a better turn 4 play, so we bait him to muster for battle so swipe turns into a even trade turn 4 play instead of a playing this and then just getting true silvered and falling behind on board. So that's kind of the logic there. Using swipe just to keep up with my opponent rather than anything else. Right, this just dies to the Harrison Jones, so that's not good. He's already used the coin, so he's not going to be coining anything, so we don't prevent anything with this anyway. So I think I'm just going to get 2 beasts out there and try and lower the cost of Knight of the Wild, and just have minions that stick around. So next turn we can use Savage Combatant plus Hero Power to trade up with one of these minions. Oh, 2-4. Wrecked. Shit. That Belcher protects that guy too good. Alright. So we can't actually get the Haunted Creeper to connect with it, which kind of sucks. We can, however, Savage Combatant Hero Power almost break through. Ah, that blows. That Belcher's strong as fuck. I need a removal here. That's something we don't have in the deck is Wrath. Wrath usually works pretty well with Savage Combatant just because when you have a lot of ways to deal damage to things, having more ways to deal damage to things helps you control the board a lot better because damage plus damage equals dead things. So usually when you have things like Savage Combatant, Living Roots, and Wrath all in the same deck, usually you have a hand that ends up being able to deal like 5 damage to something, which ends up being a magic number to help kill things. Alright. We'll take care of this, I guess. He's able to do that and develop whatever he wants, though, which is kind of scary. And we'll get to work poking this, so after he kills this off, this at least trades. Justicar. We only got 1 swipe left. But we do have this Haunted Creeper on the board, and his Light's Just is just finished, so it should be able to do a little bit of work. Okay. So, I guess we're gonna get this Knight of the Wild out here. Maybe Loatheb Knight of the Wild, so he can't, like, equality me? I don't know. It's like, it dies for free to the stupid Justicar. Okay. Well, I mean, would I rather have my 4/6 die and save a 6/6, or have my 6/6 die and save a 5/5? And prevent him from AoEing down all my little jitters? I think this is, like, definitely a stage where he would be wanting to, like, equality conk or something, so that's why I kind of like the Loatheb coming down here. Hopefully he doesn't kill any of these 1/1s. He just wasted an Eldor. Alright, we don't have a beast on the field, so that card doesn't work quite yet, but we can take care of that guy. We can do this. And then we can try and protect our Emperor here by trading here and there. Or we can just go face for 5. I think Emperor is going to die either way, so I'm going to get in the 5 face damage. I think that's important. We don't have our combo yet, but hopefully we're able to find it. Uh-oh. Yeah. Trading would have just lost 5 damage there, so it's a good thing we didn't trade. So this counts as a beast, right? So we get a 7/7? Pretty sure. Yeah. Cool. We drew Innervate, though. That's really bad. We need to find our card draw. We need to find our lures. This is kind of awkward. We haven't hit our lures yet. Normally, Druid that runs this many low drops runs 2 Azure Drakes to try and help with cycling a little bit. We don't have anything in the place of that in the standard shell right now. So we're running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2-drops without extra cycle. So that might be something we got to look into. But the idea is we want to be playing our hand really fast anyway. So cycle would kind of slow down the main theme of killing people. Swipe. We can try and just swipe this and try and make sure the 7 connects. We could swipe him in the face and try and set up for lethal other ways. I'm more inclined to believe the 7/7's dying either way, so I'm going to swipe him in the face. Seems like what a man would do. And we're going to just set up to kill him with Force of Nature, even after he swings. He still needs to find 1 damage to be able to deal with this without hitting it. Druid. Alright. Alright. Where's my... Is he going to kill it? Because if he doesn't kill it, Keeper of the Grove's out too. Alright, he is going to kill it. But we have Druid of the Claw and Force. 2 outs. Damn. He's got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Second Keeper of the Grove's an out now. We have Druid of the Saber is also an out this way. Roar is an out. Savage Combatant's an out. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the other Living Roots, so 6 outs for lethal. So 6 out of 16. Fuck. Now we just have Ancient Allure into, I don't know, somehow stay alive. Oh, we're gonna need a Doomsayer. Ancient Allure into good Doomsayer? Nope. We would have had it. We would have had it. All right, we'll go for. Could go for Doomsayer is what I should have done. I wasted the Roar though. All right, if we get Doomsayer and then we top deck Force of Nature, then I threw the game. I didn't get Doomsayer. Alright, so things we need to do. How do we make this? How do we improve the Beast Druid skeleton? So, Optimus Carp. Let me be real with you right now. We do not have enough card draw to support 5 2-drops in this deck. We also have the same, if not a bigger high end than the normal Druid. So that's kind of curious. But Knight of the Wild is a card that seems like it'd be a lot better with more card draw because you need to be constantly drawing new beasts, playing new beasts while it sits in your hand. So being able to cycle into more beasts seems pretty good. But how do we fit that in? So we either need to speed up or slow down the deck because we got sick early game, questionable mid game, and then sick end game with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 drops and an Emperor. So we got to pick a direction here that we're going with it because we lose the board in the middle of the game. So since we have the 2 drops, I kind of like the idea, if you haven't already played around with it, with just this guy. This guy's not the worst thing in the world to help. It doesn't work very well with Haunted Creeper as a problem, but it works pretty good with Druid of the Saber because you stealth it and then you can coin into this. Kind of like a Houndmaster, but just not quite as good. So I don't like having Emperor when we don't have very much draw and we only have 1 copy of the combo. Emperor's so powerful in Druid mainly because you have 2 copies of the combo and you can just do retarded crap with the 2 copies of the combo with Emperor. So I'm not the biggest fan in the world of that card. We don't have Knife Juggler or Power of the Wild or anything that really benefits from the Haunted Creeper tokens, so I'm not too thrilled about the Haunted Creeper tokens being something that has to stay. But Haunted Creeper by itself, of course, is just a really good card. I want to try and fit this card in here because we need another 4-drop anyway, because Savage Command isn't the greatest standalone 4-drop. And since we have the early game presence of these 1 and 2 drops, I want to try and get some buff card on 4 that helps benefit from that. So I kind of like Wild Waker as possibly being thrown in there. And plus, it's just never that bad, because like later game you can buff things with it. It itself isn't a beast, which is kind of awkward, but having a way to buff these minions is pretty good. Especially Mounted Raptor, because they don't really even want to pop that. They're just going to let it be most of the time, because they don't want to deal with the 1-drop, and then you can buff it on the following turn. So before this card was a card, this card was a lot worse. But now this card exists. It makes it a lot better, actually. So what can we cut here? I'd like to see like one of the Knight of the Wilds go for sure, because the card's like super duper slow. You have to like have it in your hand and stuff. It's not the worst thing in the world, and it sort of averages out your bad draws, I guess. Because let's say you draw Boom in your opening hand, and you're like, shit, this sucks. I'm going to lose now. I have Boom in my opening hand. Well, if you draw Knight of the Wild in your opening hand, it's not actually that bad, because you find some other 2-drop, something to go with it, it lowers the cost of it, and you get it out there. So that's kind of what I think the like purpose of the card is it sort of like takes over the Boom slot by being a consistent, but also a lot less powerful version of Boom. So I could see even cutting Boom and just running the Knight of the Wild and then lowering the curve and being way more aggressive with it as an option. That's definitely a direction you can kind of take the deck. So I'd like to see the second Wild Waker in there and count Savage Combatant more as like a 6-drop rather than as a 4-drop. And then I want to see the 2-drops be things that benefit from having increased health. So the 3/2s are able to then turn into a 3/5, which can actually trade up with a lot of things and be a lot stronger. So that's kind of why I like those as an option. And I explained a little bit earlier in the middle of the game that I really liked having Wrath, especially while running 2 copies of Living Roots and Savage Combatants, and Keeper of the Groves and Swipes and all that sort of stuff, is just because it gives you more options for trading with things, because removal plus removal equals dead things. And that's why Slam Bash Warrior worked, and why Bash is such a good card in Control Warrior, and why Slam started being used in Control Warrior, is because you have the bat, you slam it first, and then you bash it, and it's dead. So, like, removal plus removal equals dead things, and that's always a good combination to have. That's why Rogue is really good at killing shit, because they play all the removal, and then the removal complements the removal. So, I think Wrath is pretty good if we're going for any sort of board control-y approach. How we squeeze it in there, that's a puzzle. Since I'm running this guy, I want to continue having the lower curve. Also, Wrath is a cycle card, so in the controller slower matchups, it allows you to cycle for your combo, and in the aggro matchup, it allows you to kill shit. So, it's just like really good at being well-rounded, and you have Ancient Allures in your deck, so obviously you're a bit of a slower deck. You're not Aggro Druid. Aggro Druid cut Wraths because they never want to cycle. They just want to kill shit. But you do sometimes want to cycle because you can play the control game with this deck, so I want to see the ability to play the control game in there. So, alright. What are we going to do for that? I can see, like, even just, like, Aspirant going, but I don't know. Coin Aspirant's pretty strong with this deck with the amount of crap you can just dump on the board really fast. We don't want to really lower the number of beasts too much. I can see cutting one of these guys, since Knight of the Wild sometimes comes down to be a 5-drop, and it's a situational card. So I'd cut one of these guys, put a Wrath in there, and then what else are we going to get rid of? What can we get to get this other Wrath in here? Just taking a tiny fin. You guys are crazy. I can see cutting one of these Living Roots. We have a lot of 2-drops and low drops already. We don't have very many ways to complement it. So against aggro, we have Darnassus Aspirants, so we don't really need Living Roots against aggro. We're running it just because it's a pretty good card. But, they're not beasts. They don't fit the theme too well. We have anti-aggro things because we have 2-drops, so I don't think we need the Living Roots that much. So I like having the Wrath over there instead of that. Lose Innervate. You guys are going insane in chat. Don't do that. Don't cut Innervate. That card's good. Especially when you have so many high drops. Innervate is insane. So yeah, this is what I would kind of do to doctor the deck. I'd play around with, like, trying to fit in a double combo, too. Because if you can fit in double combo, it's going to help a lot. Because double combo is insane. Like, But there's a few different directions you can definitely take the concept, and that's either being faster or being slower, because cards like Knight of the Wild and things like that can definitely be pretty strong in a slower deck, but Wrath adds more cycle to our deck. We're able to get Wild Wakers, so we're able to benefit off of the extra 2-drops we run in Druid. And we lowered the curve a little bit, so we're a little bit faster, so we can benefit off of playing early game stuff. Yeah, call that doctored. Could have dropped Knight of the Wild and put in second combo. Yeah, but you could do that. It's definitely an option. I think Knight of the Wild is definitely a playable card, though. And the Optimus Carp obviously wants to play Knight of the Wild because he owns Knight of the Wilds and he put it in the deck. And I think that's one of the main themes of the deck. And I was trying to make a deck that works around that concept and be good with running Knight of the Wild. So that's why we left the Knight of the Wilds in there. Alright, so now this is the Death Rattle control